Hey, we're going to dive into some things here in just a little bit. But first, Dennis, if you can just give us the 40,000 foot view, because what I'd like to do and what we will do is post that YouTube interview that you did with Chad a few days ago, man. That hit home to me, and it's going to hit home to a lot of our listeners too as well. So, just the 40,000 foot view, man. What you feel comfortable with, and introduce yourself.
Okay, of just the bio, or what would you like?
Yeah, man. Just quick bio, whatever you're comfortable with
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
yourself.
So my name is Dennis Price. I served 18 and a half years in the Marine Corps in special operations and all throughout various special operations realms. I did 15 deployments in the Marine Corps and in the private sector, to include the private sector. Um, all to find that throughout my time of the grind of back-to-back deployments, special operations school, and whatever, and the drive, everything we did from there. Um, I found myself quickly at the 40,000 foot view. I quickly found myself at the end of a barrel, and my children sleeping in the next room. And it's something I call the veteran's curse. It came down, and eventually it came to get me. And while I was unwell and needed to get my life on back on the right path, um, like I'm a sniper, Marine Scout sniper, and sniper instructor, and Special Forces sniper instructor. I relate everything back to that. I was off on my zero, and I need zeroed in life, and I was like, man, I'm so messed up right now. So then I was like, how do I get back to what is true and to re-zero myself? So I started going back in the church, because the church is God was the word, and the word is good, and the word is true. So I started bringing my family back to church. I got out because my youngest daughter, Amelia, was born with two rare diseases, Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome and hyperinsulinism, two rare diseases that forced me to get out of the Marine Corps right before early retirement. The weight of the world was crushing down on me, and I didn't know what to do. And the enemy, that for those who are believers and well rehearsed in scripture, it says the enemy walks around like a roaring lion, seeking to whom he may devour. And I was on the prowl on that. I was in his crosshairs, and I fell victim to the veteran's curse. Uh, so I try to get myself well, going to church, try and do the right thing. And quickly, what do most of us do when we get out? And we want to, get quick cash. And, guys like us, we don't have much other, skills. No one cares how fast you can run. They don't care if you can shoot a guy from a mile away. They don't care how many deployments. So, but Blackwater, and who used to be called Blackwater, does. So just like everyone else in the soft community, I got out and started contracting overseas, what used to be called Blackwater, as a sniper. And that's when I felt called to serve, truly, to go into Afghanistan and rescue the Americans during the Kabul, Afghanistan evacuation. I snuck in from Tajikistan with a guy named Chad Robichaux. It's in his book Saving Aziz. It's about 8 chapters that talk about the stories that I'm about to say. But we snuck in from Tajikistan and went down on the border of Afghanistan in the Panjshir Valley and did 90 miles of border reconnaissance. And that's when I swam across the river, building routes out, and then eventually pulled out 77 Americans and vetted interpreters. And when I came out of that water in the Panjshir Valley, that was when I submitted my life to Christ, and that is when it hit me like a ton of bricks. That was the moment I realized all that pain and torment, all the trials and tribulation, all those back-to-back deployments, watching my buds get blown up, all this other stuff, people around me dying, and I was surviving. I convinced myself as a believer, as an American believer, that that God wants me to be his war vessel. I'm going to all these soft schools. I'm graduating at the top of my class. I'm going back to back deployments. I'm surviving. I'm thriving. God must want me to do this. It only makes sense. I convinced myself, and the greatest lie that the enemy has ever convinced veterans and active duty service members was that there's no place for God in war. And I kept telling myself that, even though I'd come back from deployments, I'd go back to church, try to get well, and get back on track to what is true. And then I'd go back on deployment, and I would be like, oh, there's no place for God in war. I'd put him, even though he was always there. I forced him out of my life. When I came out of the river in Afghanistan on the Panjshir Valley, that was when the epiphany hit me. Man, all those trials and tribulations, all that stuff I went through, that was not for me to be his war vessel. It went from my life goal went from taking lives to saving lives. It was 1 degree off. I thought I had it all figured out. I thought whatever, but all that pain and torment wasn't to be his war vessel. It was to be the guy who was qualified to sneak in from Tajikistan and save his children. And man, that, like I said, it changed my life on the side of the riverbank in Afghanistan, the Panjshir Valley. That is when I came out of the water, rebaptized, on fire for Christ, submitted my life to Christ, started Heroes for Humanity, switched my for-profit to a nonprofit, and just been running with the gospel ever since. Much like Peter in the boat, getting called out into the water, I started stepping out on the water in true faith and never looked back. And man, it's been a wild experience. Right after that, Heroes for Humanity covered down on the Ukraine invasion before. Everyone's memory is so short-winded, but for the first 9 months of the war, there wasn't a single U.S. member allowed, no government agency allowed, no U.S. dollar allowed, no humanitarian aid, no weapons, no nothing for the first 9 months of the war. But there were still women and children and orphans out there who needed the help. And they didn't care who paid the bill. So that's when I started Heroes for Humanity as a nonprofit. Was like, man, those kids don't care who comes, and they don't care who pays the bill. They just need someone to come from them. And we know as believers in James 1:27, it says the religion that our Father calls is pure and faultless is to look after the widows and the orphans in their time of distress. So as I prayed and meditate on it, that's when we stood up as a nonprofit and fully as a ministry, because we are doing this not on behalf of the United States government, not on behalf of America, not on behalf of anything like that. It was we are trying to be heroes for humanity, and I did it in honor of like Dave Eubanks from Free Burma Rangers, Chad Robichaux, Sarah Verardo from Save Our Allies, and all these men and women who I worked with from various different places, like Doc Pete Chambers. I work with these people, and I'm like, man, who are these people doing these amazing things? So I named it Heroes for Many in honor of them. I was like, some of these guys are high in stature, some of these guys are millionaires, some of these people are just basic workers at your mom and pop store. Some have children, some don't, but they're all doing it for the right reason, and they're all doing it for free, and they're doing to save lives who they've never met, who they'll never meet. And that's when I was so honored to just be in the ranks of them. And I was like, man, these people are true heroes for humanity. So I named it that. We went into in the invasion of Ukraine, embedded in an orphanage, providing medical aid and assistance to orphans and doing rescue missions in the invasion off of $3,600.
Talk to me.
We sent a doctor, nurse, paramedic, an 18 Delta Special Force medic, and a 3-man special operations teams, and to include flights, safe houses, gear, equipment, all of that stuff. We did it on the widow's mite of $3,600, and I tried to raise $90,000, but that was the amount that God said that's what glorifies Him. That's what the glory gives to Him.
That's right. I love that story, brother. And the reason I wanted you to tell that story, or just that, and I know this is the tip of the iceberg with you, man, and I know it is, but to get our viewers to let them know that there is no excuse. There is no excuse for staying down when you're down, if you're down. And then if you're in some type of rut, there's a way out of it. And we got to get that figured out in this country, number one. We've got a problem, brother. We've got a problem with the men in this country and them staying down for a while without getting back up. Now, what are some of your experiences? And it's like you just got through saying, man, when you're down and you've been at the worst, and man, we've been there. You know what I'm talking about. We've been there, man. It's like, what are we doing? I thought I had it all figured out. Like, remember you just got through saying, and come to find out, it had nothing to do with me in the first place.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, what? Oh, okay. Now I got it figured out. If I just get myself out of the way and serve others like I'm supposed to, and then you've got to do that with just straight focus, determination, and resiliency, like you're talking about. And I did the same thing. Like when we have our gathering of eagles up there at the compound in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, yeah.
Sitting around all this, Craig Sawyer and them, sitting Neil Dyer and Jamie, just sitting all those around all those great SEALs and special ops people, icons of this nation.
Mm.
Man, they're pouring their hearts out to you because they're saying, I was the same way. I've got a room full of the brass and I've got a room full of the wars, which means nothing at the end of the day. What means more is that humanitarian effort and
Mm.
doing something greater than yourself, and also taking care of your family a lot better than what you were when you're focused on yourself.
Absolutely. The greatest gift that we can ever give our children is not treasures of this world and the iniquities that we have right here. Is truly the giving them a good foundation of a spiritual resiliency and a thorough understanding and a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. 1000%. It rehearses that. It says that multiple times in the Bible, and that is what I've seen to be true. Because man, I just got back from Africa about 3 weeks ago. We were in 3 separate countries right after the Texas floods and the Guadalupe. The next day later, we were in South Africa. I spoke as a keynote speaker in Johannesburg, and then immediately we went on our week and a half mission for humanitarian aid in Zimbabwe, and then another week and a half in Zambia. And we built a agricultural center that feeds 1,000 people a day. And I had an awesome saying there that I learned from one of the ministers, one of my good friends, Matt Mbanga, who's from Zimbabwe. And he says, you may not come from a rich family, but a rich family may come from you. And hearing that and knowing what scripture says, it is not talking about what we have here in society. Because why I say I went to Africa, and also because when I went to Zambia and Zimbabwe, man, those people actually lived in the dirt and lived in straw huts and mud huts. And I could not believe almost every single person in both countries, Zambia and Zimbabwe, were authentically genuine, happy,
Right.
Like smiling from ear to ear 24/7. And it was so refreshing in life. And then I come back to America and the bumbling, the grumbling, the man, our worst day is their best day in a million years. And what is it? It's because we have our eyes on the prize of materialistic things instead of what is true. So
Absolutely, man. Well put. Gunny, what do you think? The problem right now we're having is the disassociation or the disenfranchised group of men out there. And we all can relate because we're still in that generation of that disenfranchised. There was no Great War. There was no world war for us to have the glory of coming home to, things like that, that purpose. So it's all been a rat race, brother. It's been a rat race for us, keeping up with the Joneses, like you just got through talking about. And then we're losing sight of nature and ourselves. And that whole mind, body, spirit connection, I take very seriously, man. For my days as bodybuilding and powerlifting and this and that, when you've got that three-pronged connection, when your body's right, your mind is right, and then your spirit's going to be right because you're open and you're natural and you're pure, and you're getting out in nature and you're at least talking to the man upstairs or whatever you need to do to that higher power that's in your life. Because let me tell you, it's the same light at the end of the tunnel. I don't care who you are. So whatever you need to do, we've got to get back to some form of nature and get motivated to get off this damn couch, bro. Get off the couch and do something. And I'm not talking about politically, anything like that. You know, I know you get the same thing. Hey man, what can I do for y'all? How can I join y'all? You know, me and Doc get it all the time. And the first thing I always say is, okay, man, yeah, tell me something. Who's your sheriff in your county? Well, I don't know. Oh, you have kids? Yeah. Well, who sits on your school board? I don't know. Well, at least you know your mayor. Well, I don't know. Well, brother, if you can't get a pothole fixed in your driveway on your county road or something, I can't use you. I can't use you. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard people, flying the "Don't Tread on Me" flag, but can't give you the history behind it. We've got, if I hear it comes from the Civil War one more time, I'm going to throat punch somebody. You know what I mean? Learn your history. Your family should know whatever the history, whatever flag you are flying outside your home, man, outside your castle. So, in your estimation, brother, what do we need to do to motivate, get these dads, these husbands off that couch, man. Quit watching Dancing with the Stars. Let's do something.
Man, you hit a really hot topic that I love, that it's taken fire, and not just taken fire because of Charlie Kirk, and rest his soul, because he's been saying it for years. He might have been the martyr that actually started, and not just him. I don't do politics or anything like that. But uh, this new president's election is really reining it back from a lot of the chaos. And I'm going to say it like, hey, whoever side that is, I'm on God's side. So if one side pushes him out completely and disenfranchises the role of a male in the household, and then and incentivizes breaking up the nuclear family through either Section 8 housing or food stamps or any of that stuff, or the welfare system, we see that the enemy comes to do three things. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he attacks the nuclear family, and he's been doing it since the 70s, 80s, and all that other stuff. And as we now broke up the nuclear family, and then those programs I just said now incentivize not having a man in the household, mixed with agendas of saying you don't need a man, mixed with agendas of the not importance of having an actual father in the life, and then the attack of the enemy to fathers not being men. Man, you are not a man if you're going around and sleeping with other girls. No one thinks that's cool. Boy, that's what boys do. It takes a man to love a lady and to marry a woman and settle down and love that same woman for the rest of your life and have kids with her and be honor her with your actions. That is what a man does. We have fallen away from what a masculine man was. We toxic that word of masculinity by allowing the enemy to like I said, to break up what a nuclear family is, what all this other stuff is. And back in the day, they had like what was a male in a certain one. It was like Clint Eastwood. It was this guy. It was that guy. It was John Wayne. It was these guys where you're like, what is a male? Kids don't have that right now. So what do they think of what a male is? Then they see on TV, if you listen to rap and hip hop, okay, well now it's this is what I think of what a male should do, and he doesn't stay with women. He goes and uses women. The other side says that whatever agenda is being pushed on that one to include prolonged marriage. Of the average age of a marriage couple right now is anywhere from 28 to 32. So, which is selfish also, because you're saying I want more time to me and not start a family. And by the time you actually do, remember there's a woman's maternal clock, and her eggs are still ticking away. And by the time they do that and they get established their own careers and all this other stuff, they have one or two kids, and then boom. So it's a long-winded topic of what the enemy did to slowly break it up. But that's what it all comes down to: breaking up the nuclear family, taking Christ out of the household, taking the father out of the household, allowing. Now, if you had a single mom and now like she has to eventually work, and now you're going to school. If you're going to school for 12 hours a day and your mom works and you have 2 hours at night before you go to bed, who's raising your child?
That's right.
And hopefully Christ is in that household. So now you have a playbook. Man, it's been a raw, it's not one thing here, one thing there, man. It's been a long paved road of just of demasculating America or the Western culture, because it's also happening in the UK and everyone else like that. To removing the role of a male in the household, to removing. Remember, we've been told for the last 10 to 20 years that marriage is just a tax thing. So the sanctuary of a marriage and how it's ordained from God. And now if you break that up and you remove God from all of the equation, now we're only going around where society is going to keep raising your child. And there's a really good saying, and it says, when you send your kids off to for education to Rome, don't be surprised when they come back as Romans.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that Jamie Walden said that I love, Jamie Walden, he'll be on the show probably a week or two with Omega Dynamics. Dude is on. He has got the it factor. He's like you, brother. Just got that. He's a great orator, just passionate about what he says. But he says we have gotten away from treating our spouses, our women in our life, as daughters of kings and sisters of our Savior. You know, we've gotten away from that. Now, what that means is you don't go in there with the iron fist and abuse your authority or your role or your responsibility at all. If you just keep that in mind, that is that woman that you are with, that you made your vow to, and your family, that is a daughter of a king. So you might want to start treating her that way if you're not already. And then again, going back a little bit to the mind, body, spirit. If y'all are sitting there watching your favorite show together for that hour in the evening, of course, that is not what I'm saying. Is don't remove that out of your life. But we've got to get to the point to understand in this country right now, there are enemies out there just waiting for the weak, preying on the weak. You see it all the time, brother. I see it all over this nation constantly. You and I are kind of doing the same thing of what we're after. But I'm telling you, that enemy is out there, and we cannot be targets. We just can't. The men, it is your job to protect your family. So if you need to get to that gun range, if you need to get in the gym, if you need to just start walking around the block, if you, whatever you need to do to at least have a little command presence when you take your family out, because there are more and more targets right now, more and more targets. The enemy's just sitting there looking. And that also goes for our law enforcement and our military. But the day-to-day stuff in this country on the social scene, law enforcement, I need my law enforcement to get right real quick, because if there's one thing that is a huge pet peeve of mine, is when we have out of shape, unkempt, just nasty looking law enforcement officers in their uniform. Hate it. I hate it. Unprofessional. I need that to get fixed, and I need them to help themselves get fixed, because you know as well as I do, command presence is half the battle, if not more. And nobody's going to Ronnie Coleman when he puts when he put on that Arlington PD uniform. Now we're not all going to be on Ronnie Coleman. We don't have that kind of money for that kind of gear. But I'm just telling you, that command presence goes a long way. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, we learned it in the military. What is it called? It's called being a hard target. If you're up in the gunner turret and you're actively looking and scanning your targets, and you're out on patrol and you're aggressively scanning the area and being active, or are you just chillaxing and are you making it easy for the enemy? Being a hard target in life is what your role as a protector is. You nailed it right on the head like that. And man, Mike, if you ask my kids what the 5 keys to success in life are, can apply from my 4-year-old all the way to my 12-year-old, all the way to like 40, 50, 70-year-old male or female. It is 5 keys to success are: train your mind, train your body, eat healthy food, do the right thing, and listen to God. If you train your mind, train your body, eat healthy food, do the right thing, and listen to God, you will have all of your pillars that you stated: mind, body, soul. If you drink enough water, if you're active and you have enough sunlight and you read your Bible and you go out and do those things, man, the majority of your problems will go away. I don't want to hear people keep drinking a pot of coffee or drinking energy drinks and then sitting in their couch scrolling on social media and be like, oh, I have anxiety. No, man, you just drank a pot of coffee and you're scrolling on an algorithm that's just designed to get you amped up, in a world that sows divide, and we as human beings need something to concentrate our energy towards. Before social media, man, do you remember the 90s and the early 2000s? No one knew politics. No one watched the debates. No one did any of that stuff. But all of a sudden now, in the simple, like your hand, everyone has so much to say and is weighted so heavily. And never have we been in a time in society that so much has been recorded, yet nothing has been achieved.
Nothing. You're exactly right. And that goes back to, far be it from me to say this, but I think all these pet peeves I've got. The other thing, the old, what do you call them? Social warrior, justice person, or the guy that's just the badass on the social media, but like you said, can't get a pothole fixed on this county road or something like that. They think they can fix the country, but they can't get a stoplight or a stop sign fixed around their area. So yeah, there's a lot of that, which is very dangerous, because anytime you hide behind this old cell phone, when real danger presents itself, you don't know how to handle it. You don't know what to do, and it could start out like you talk about with that, the mind, body, spirit, and then those 5 pillars are perfect. Perfect. You get the mind, body, you eat what you need supposed to be eating. I mean, and listen, and how much money do we spend on fast food alone every month, especially our soldiers, our
Yeah.
Marines and our military members? That is a huge problem as well. I mean,
Mhm.
and we're all guilty of it. We're on the road again, but still, you've got those things that you've got to cut out, man, because the enemy is right there looking for that soft target. Got to be a hard target, man. There's no other way. There's not even an excuse. You have to be that hard target, especially for that family that you love and sort of protect so much. So I like it,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
What's your workouts look like these days in the Corps?
Uh, well, so I'm in the reserve now.
Right.
So I helped stand up the very first MARSOC reserve team. And then I just recently left that, and I teach at certain schoolhouses over at MARSOC right now, and
Sure.
certain programs. So I'm kind of like I have a foot in and out, mainly out. So I can only just dabble to stay relevant in the special operations realm, so that I can just keep my skills up. But like I don't want to be another guy going on and saying, the old core, because I would just be saying that to the blue in my face, because no one has ever seen it like how it is today, and that's just those are facts. There's no war going on, so that mixed with truly the generation that we see, mixed with a lot of just define. It's just I just retire in like a year and a half, so
There you go.
I'm
Right.
I don't want to say too much. I'll wait
I
until I
got you. Oh,
retire.
I got you. I tell
Yeah.
you what, when I was, let's see, I guess it was 2 years ago, I was a tactical river unit commander for Operation Lone Star, on the border. I had the Del Rio sector, Task Force West, and um, man, I had my tadpoles. I had my tadpoles in the pool. We're doing combat water survival training, and they had to do everything I did. And I'm no spring chicken. I'm pushing 50. So I put them through. I put them through Hell Week, and if they could just keep up, they made it. So the command sergeant major down at the flagpole, he comes up and says, "Man, what's going on? I heard you're killing all these soldiers." I said, "Sergeant major, just come to one of our pool parties, and you'll see how I conduct business and everything." So he showed up, and he brought a staff with him, and it was I believe a light colonel with him as well. And we're at the Lackland Air Force Base, so Laughlin Air Force Base in Del Rio. Nice pool, and I'm just letting them have the big one. You know what I mean? Just turning into turning old devil dog, just with the grunts and everything. And he's like, "Oh, okay, now I get it." And I said, "Listen, these people here. I start out with 124, and these 16 that I have here, you don't have to worry about them. They'll work 8 days a week. They'll work 25 hours a day if you let them, and they'll die for. They ride for the brand, and that's what you want. So we've got to get back to. I said, Sergeant Major, one of the things you and I even told General Seltzer this, the tag is like, first thing you got to do is stop listening to Joe. You where we come from, we don't get to say we don't get to tell you what we want. We are told what we are going to do, and then you go execute. It has been flipped, and that is also a huge problem because the generation coming out now and have been coming out have never been told no by dad or mom in the household. They freak out when you say no. It's the same way if you're scrolling through social media and you never get out there, you never make yourself fit, you never make yourself physical, and when confrontation does hit, you won't know how to handle it. So I know you're seeing that as well, probably not on a MARSOC level, of course, but you see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I don't know what's gonna fix it. I'm really big fan of Pete Hegsteth, of what he's doing currently, and how he's shaping up. And like I said, I'm trying not to get political, but of keeping, like, here's the facts of not political. The Department of War / the Department of Defense, whatever, needs to get their eye on the defense. If you want to say DOW or DOD, whatever it is, quit
Right.
with the agendas, quit with the social experiments, get your eyes on national security and strengthening the force. I don't care, like I said, if it's Pete Hegsteth or if it's, uh, Hillary Clinton. you know. So whoever that person is needs to cut the shenanigans, make your country strong, secure your country, secure its forces, enable the forces, and then keep your eye on the ball again, which is national security. That's what you're there for. You're not there like, you know, to do X, Y, Z, and now even weaken the force. And they have the hardest mission of all, because you already said it. our nation generation is weak. We are coming from weak men, and like I understand the holistic situation. I understand that there's over chemicals in the food that are plummeting testosterone levels. I know there's and truly, you know, RFK Jr. is doing such an amazing job because he's identifying this tragedy of a scam of the food networks that's been able to do this, and they openly know that. Man, to what? Just to save a few bucks here and there. And now, you know, like the average age of a woman is now hitting puberty at like 9 to like 12, you know, which is just years less. The testosterone levels of men are plummeting. Depression levels are skyrocketing. People are girls are boys, guys are things, you know, all this other thing. When mental health, all this thing jammed into one. Like, I'm glad that we have a new, you know, generation of politics, of whatever that looks like, who are just saying, hey, let's train our mind, train our body, eat healthy food, do the right thing, and listen to God. Like I said, whoever that party is, whoever that whatever is, that's who I back and what I stand by. And right now, that's the one that is really coming back to doing that right
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely, man. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle. It's common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I really like the whole food thing right now. RFK, I think he's on the right path. You know, everybody's giving him hell for about, hey man, he got rid of the red Skittles with the very first, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it's into a larger problem with all the crap we are putting in our bodies and the way it's affecting us. And but then also it costs so much to eat healthy now. So there's got to be a balance somewhere where we can get the right supplements we need with the food that we're eating. So when we started JC Elite, Dr. Molly, I met her actually on search and rescue out there in Hurricane Helena. And she was setting up a MASH out there. You can't call it a clinic, I guess, but she set up a MASH. She was taking care of all of us that were doing search and rescue, and we were doing some counter cartel works too with Doc. And God bless, you know, Dr. James is keeping us going with our infusion. We call them Molly cocktails, Molly cough. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean they
Uh,
vitamin
where
C and everything.
where was that mass unit at?
That was at Avery Airfield.
I
Avery
knew you
Airfield.
were gonna say that. Yeah, I know exactly the mass unit because after you guys broke down, a few of our operators, Dr. Joe Griffin and Dr. Evelyn Griffin, were doctors. One is a vascular surgeon, one is a OBGYN, and they came from there, and they're a part of us, and they broke down eventually when they closed that mass unit, and then came to us, and you know, we've been great friends ever since. We did the Israel-Iran war, where in history it's called the 12-Day War. We went over together, and we rescued 92 Americans together. So he came from that mass unit, so I know exactly.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, that is too cool. I mean, as soon as she left to go back to Missouri to take care of some business in her clinic, they shut it down, of course, and that's when I think at the overspill got over to you. But she sat with us and she was like, "Hey, listen, what do y'all need as operators, as SWAT, or in my case, when I was a state trooper, we called it HURT, High Incident Response Team, and just what do y'all need to keep going?" And I was telling you, over the counter supplements just doesn't get it done for most of us like that because it's almost like the fast food stuff. Is there's so many fillers in there and very little of the good product, the vitamin, the mineral that you're seeking for. So she did a lot of searching around. She finally found some pharmaceutical grade and some clinician grade additives and or supplements, and she put together the JC Elite program. And she's like, "This is what I want. I want to keep taking care of y'all, but I want to get it down to a level where we have men in this country that are looking for an answer." And this is not a promo. This is not a promo at all. This is just facts, like you were talking about. Where if you're taking something from, say, Walmart or Target, whatever it is, it's mass produced. It's a McDonald's of supplements. So if I can get what I've get in these IVs, what I can get intravenously, then if I can get that in that grade in the pill form or something like that, we need to make that happen. And she did. She found us. So that's what we've been pushing here lately, man. And this is the first form to let everybody know that you have supplements out there and you can stay away from the fast food. If you just do half a decent diet and supplement it with a decent supplement, just your vitamins and your minerals and some things like that, you're off to the races. You're good as going. You're good as going. So
No, absolutely. I've been a personal trainer for about 15 years now, and a self-proclaimed nutritionist. Uh, so all my clients and everyone who I help, every time I read on a new diet, I read up on it and then I try it to see what my body reacts, and then before I advertise it to a client. And I've done them all. I like paleo to keto to intermittent fasting, short intermittent fasting to the long ones to the carnivore. Um, and what my view is everyone sees so great success in any of them because they're actually focusing on what they're eating. Like I'm like, man, everyone preaches carnivore, everyone preaches whatever. I'm like, dude, you're eating healthy now. Like, and it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change that you need to do. And like, what I tell everyone is like, hey, fill your protein and then let the other ones go. So if you weigh 190, get the 1 for 1 grams. That's a bodybuilder style for generations, and fill it with that. And then if you want to choose your main source of energy as carbs, you can just do clean carbs. If you want to do it as animal fats, which I like, that it made the best one for me is a diet I call is paleo. It's a keto paleo style mix, because if you have a half an apple, technically you have you throw over your daily limit of carbs for the day. Well, I'm like, hey, if I follow by the old bodybuilder style, it's like no more than 2 pieces of fruit a day, because still sugar, and I can eat fruits and vegetables in moderation, and I can eat primarily keto style. So and that's what I've seen mixed with intermittent fasting till noon. And it keeps you lean, it keeps you strong. You're like, hey, I'm not, I'm still benching the 300s and I'm still running 6-minute miles at the age of like 36 and like needing multiple surgery. And it keeps me not the fastest guy, not the strongest guy, but all around I'm in the 1,000-pound club while still running very decently fast.
oh yeah, absolutely. That's actually a great combination. I like that. What do you call it again? The keto?
Yeah, that paleo. It's
Paleo. That's all I like.
keto and paleo together, and then I add some intermittent fasting, so it's till noon, and then you you work out. So if you returning this to a nutrition thing, if you work out or do cardio fasted, you burn 3 times the amount of fat as if you were to just do a 20-minute cardio session unfasted. So 3 times the amount of fat. So it's and I always do a buy-in because I'm still operational. So I always buy in with 20 minutes of cardio and then you work on vanity, So pay the pills up front. No one wants to, but guess what? You show me a special operations selection that cares about your bench press, and I'll go there.
I will too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll stay there. I'll retire.
Yeah. So pay the bills up front and then work on vanity and whatever you want.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great advice. And I always go with Jeff Capps, good friend of mine. He's been in the fitness game for 30 plus years, probably 40 years now. Man, he's got this theory, this philosophy of a 3-prong exercise versus working out versus training. Now, of course, you're at the training part now. So when you started out, you're just doing exercises. Man, exercise, not to be confused with a movement exercise, but you're in the gym, you don't know what you're doing, you're trying to get your 30 minutes in and go to the house. That's exercise. Nothing wrong with that. But you're going to plateau and you're not going to see the results that you probably want. Once you start getting a little more serious, then you get some workouts in. That's when you're pushing yourself and getting a little uncomfortable. Then okay, that felt a little different. I pushed myself. I'm starting to sweat more. I'm hurting. I've got to recover better. And then after you pass that phase, you've got something on the calendar, or you've got a mission, and now you're training. And let me tell you, people out there, if you've never trained for something before, there's nothing like it. It is a high. Whether it's a marathon, whether it's powerlifting competition, bodybuilding, physique show, a sports match, all our athletes out there, you know what I'm talking about. When you're training, something's on the calendar and you're training, you just feel better. You feel, because that's when you're pushing your body to the max. And people, and you can attest to this too, Gunny, people don't realize how far we can push our bodies
Oh
without
yeah.
before we pass out or die. We can push it. There is a threshold. If you'll get to that threshold, I promise you this, you'll get addicted to it. You will get addicted to pushing yourself to that threshold, and you'll want to do it every time. And exercise and workouts are in your rearview mirror before you know you're training. Am I right?
Yeah. No, I mean, you nailed it right there. Well, first, I wonder, and I haven't put much thought into it until you said it. I think we, like you said, we are better when we're training, but I think that's because people need a goal to drive towards. And when you're just working out to work out, and you see it in the gym all the time, are you there as a check in the box? Much like church, are you just there to get a check in the box? If you're not there, mentally, then why even be there physically? Are you just going on that little, elliptical and like checking off the whatever? Are you in there for the grind? Was like, so I think that's why training is so important. Is like for me, I try to always be able to like hit those things. Like, hey, I don't always want to be able to run a pretty decent 5K time, or a 3 mile time of like 20 flats at this age, while being in the 1,000 pound club, while being able to run miles, and swim miles and miles, and take a fight for jujitsu or MMA, and just drop 10 pounds to take a fight. So how do you keep cardio, explosive power, your strength up? Well, you have to train with that in mind. Otherwise, you're not. And I wonder if that's why what you said, you're really in your groove, because now you have a mission to going towards a marathon or something like that. You know, um, I think that's how.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. Something's on the calendar, man. You got something on the calendar. You got that goal to go after, and getting to that. That's the fun part. That's what hurts so much. And getting there and then attaining that goal is just going to make you want more and more
Yeah.
and more. Just do it for the right reasons. Keep vanity out of it. There's a little bit of that in there. And I kind of want you to have a little bit of that in there. But what I'm saying is, whatever's going to make you have that drive to get you to that goal, you've got to do it. But your rear end on the couch or the recliner all day long or all evening long, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And we weren't meant to do that. Motion is the lotion. That's why those people who like live to like 90 plus, my grandma, God rest her soul, she was such an inspirational person in my life. I was raised with my grandma and my father as my parents. And my grandma worked till like 92 years old in Western Pennsylvania in the mountains, and as a crossing guard lady with like 2 feet of snow, and was still working at the age of 92. But like, and she was healthier than all of our friends who were like dying off at like late 70s, maybe early 80s, because motion was the lotion. The moment she quit, like after 2 years, it went greatly plummeting. And
Right.
just like what you see in like those documentaries of like health, those people who live to like the late 90s to like to the hundreds, they walk like a mile a day in like Italy and stuff like that, and all they do, they stay moving. When I got out of the service, and a lot of vets can attest to this, and guys who are getting out, man, you're used to jamming it in like, hey, morning PT, we run 3 miles. I hit the gym. We're forced to work out or whatever. And then when you get out, all of a sudden you stop. That's when everything started hurting. I was like, dude, I feel like I got in a car wreck. Everything needed like reconstructive surgery, all this of this. And then I started bleeding into that, going to all these appointments and staying like that. And then all of a sudden, I went to physical therapy. I did a whole bunch of other stuff. I did a PT plan, but then I just started working out again. And like, man, your body just goes back used to it. It's normal.
Right. Well, yeah, well put, man. That's stopping. That's what hurts. That's what hurts me whenever I get on a good roll. And then, sometimes the mission doesn't allow you to get some good workouts, and especially doing some recon stuff. Our little RNS, and you're like, oh my God, you get back and you're like, I've got to do something quick. Got to do something. Hey, Dr. James, how are we looking on time? I know we got some Q&A. I saw Doc Chambers in there for a minute. Where'd he go?
He did. He popped in for just a second and popped back out. So I think he lost service, maybe.
Just because he's a colonel does not mean he gets to just do what he wants to, especially on this show.
So we'll see if he pops back in. I didn't want to stop this great discussion, but we did have at least one question, and I wanted to open it up a little bit for questions for the audience. So let me pull that up. So one of the questions we have is, what is your best recovery tip? So I'm guessing you guys like you said, you push hard, you push past those physical barriers. So how do you get yourself, like, stay out of that adrenal fatigue, that overdrive, that burnout, physically and mentally?
I'm sure Gunny and I are the same on that. Gunny, what you got on your recovery, brother?
Man, I'm the worst person to ask
I knew it. Me too. Me too.
because guys like us, especially soft, you said it. There's a screw loose that, like, where your brain can, your mind, your mental fortitude pushes so past that your body's trying to keep up, and we just slam it until that nail isn't flush. It's going in, and so I have a problem with healing now in my life. I know that if I only work out every other day, no matter when I slam it or not, I stay big, athletic. And I actually was like, man, I actually stopped working out as much as I ever did. And everyone's like, man, are you juicing? Like, you look 20 pounds bigger. And I'm like, dude, I just cut out cardio more. I quit overtraining and I just ate how I was supposed to. And I actually prioritized recovery. And I tried for the first time creatine because I've been fighting the whole time. So I never really ate red meat. I didn't try creatine because I needed to stay lean. So lean chicken. But ultimately to say is like, I don't want to give bad advice, because when people hear overtraining, then people on the couch are like, well, I don't want to work out every day. I'm like, guys, get out of here. You guys are I'd rather you guys be the overtrainers, and then we have to tailor it back. Go to the gym, do 2-a-days, wake up. I love going to the gym in the morning, because no matter how your day was, at least you went to the gym, and man, my brain fires on all octaves. Like, it's on all cylinders, and I'm able to, like, be energetic for the rest of the day. If I don't, I'm like 1 o'clock still needing coffee, one pot later, like, man. So I'm not too good on that, but ultimately Jay Cutler, the bodybuilder, said it best. You can't overtrain if you're eating enough.
That's right.
So eat towards the appropriate amount. Use MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal is free, and I use it for all my clients, and it's free, so you can track exactly what your macro and micronutrients need, your caloric intake, have a goal, just like Major Mike just said, is have a goal in there, because otherwise you're just wobbling in and out. Like, hey, I want to gain 2 pounds of muscle of lean muscle mass in 1 month. That's a good, strong foundation. Well, you have to be in a caloric surplus of 500 calories. Calories in, calories out. You hear many things, but clean calories in, lean meats, fill the 1 for 1 gram of protein, and then prioritize recovery, sleep. Like, if you drink a gallon of water a day and you get 8 hours of sleep and you get plenty of exercise, I think your recovery will be there. To include using Jay Cutler's model of I don't think you can overtrain if you're eating enough.
Yeah, I agree. I know Jay Cutler and Lee Priest both believe that. Like Lee says the same thing, and they're right. Even at my age, they're right. I will tell you something that I have been reintroduced to, though, is that creatine. For the longest time when we were competing back in the late 90s, that stuff was so potent. Of course, they took a lot of it off the shelf for a few years. It was so potent. It was the only thing. Man, I've got stomach. I could eat a license plate and be okay. But that creatine back in the day was so rough. But I've just been reintroduced to it, and it's so smooth now. The water retention's not there. The taste is much better. Number one, I mean, it didn't matter to me back in the day. It was chalk. Chalk is chalk. But no, the taste is there, and man, the recovery factor on this stuff. And like you said, people said, yeah, man, what are you doing? You're working out 2 times a day? No, 3 times a week.
Yeah, same. Yeah, 3 times a week. And people are like, man, you look like, and I'm like, so on the note of creatine, I just started doing it about 9-11 months ago or so. So much new research is going out about a lot on creatine, but about the brain activity and the brain health. And like what you said, to recovery, the bloat is gone. The stigma of creatine of your water muscles, that's old stuff, man. That's like, let's not even bring that up. Not even entertain that. But and now I read a study about 3 to 5 weeks ago talking about don't even do the loading phase anymore. Just consistently keep it, and for the brain fog of it and the brain mental clarity, getting that part. I read a study saying about 20 to 25 grams a day of creatine will give you that mental clarity, and then everything else will fall under that. So that's what I've started doing. I do 2 scoops, which is 10 grams in my pre-workout. If you don't take pre-workout, that's fine. BCAAs, branched chain amino acid. I highly encourage it. You can we all don't want to break the bank every month just by buying a million different supplements, but to get that pure protein synthetic that your body's going to absorb. But 10 grams before, and then in my post-workout shake, I do another 2 scoops, which is 10 grams. So it's 20. And man, like I feel fuller and like everything like that. And that I can't believe this whole time I've been doing without. And like, yeah, I just can't preach.
Same here. Yeah, it's same here, man. I was taking that creatine, and we used to load the first week at 60 grams a day. That type of stuff. That probably didn't help the gut anything, but yeah, now, yeah, you're right. I think in our creatine now, our clients are seeing our patients are taking anywhere from 5 to 15 grams a day. That's all they need. They like it. They're getting that same effect that we used to get at 60, 70 grams a day for the first week or two to preload phase or whatever. So. Does that answer your question, doctor? Yeah, just
I have another question. I have another question in the chat. So what is the ideal rep and set number for weightlifting? Is it low weight max rep or something else?
Ooh, there's some different schools of thought on that as well. I mean, and of course, it all goes back to, and Gunny can attest this, what are you trying to do? What's the end state? Do you want to look like Jay Cutler? Or do you want to look like a competitor? Or you just want to look like an athlete? Do you want to look like an operator, more functional? So, anywhere, and back to the Cutler theory, Cutler's going to say between 8 and 15 reps in there, and with the 3, 4, 5 sets, depending on how advanced you are. If you're just starting out, in the exercise phase, all I need you to do is just get in the gym. I'm sure Gunning saying just get into the gym and do something, because the first few months is just getting your muscles waking up and saying, hey, listen, what are we doing here? They're starting to wake up. So it really doesn't matter what you're doing in the gym, as long as you're doing it, with good form and not going crazy, and just getting those first, I always just say the first 60 days. Get that first 60 days of workouts in, then you'll start seeing those results, and then you can start tailoring some stuff as you get out there. What do you think, Gunny?
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. You need to see what you're doing. If you're gonna, if you want to look like Jay Cutler, if you want to do powerlifting, we know that powerlifting is in that 3 to 5 range. We know that 8 to 12 is that like generic bodybuilding one. And I love that's the general rule of thumb. Everyone just says 8 to 12, 8 to 12. Everyone just hits the number 10. When probably about 8 years ago, when I had a good, Arnold Schwarzenegger, arguably the best bodybuilder of all time, said it best. What's more important than a good workout routine is a workout buddy. And I had a really good buddy who said, are you hitting the number 10 and stopping? Or are you 8 and I'm forcing it to 10? Because that's where we need to be when we say 8 to 10 reps, and we do 8 to 10. Well, could you have done 12? Okay, well, then add. Because when you're like what you said is you're sending a signal to your body. It's like, oh, I'm progressive overload. I need to pack this on more with the nutrients, the protein synthesis on the demand I'm needing. I need to add these microfiber tears and pound it on, strengthen this, because my body needs to react to this more heavy load, the progressive overload. And which is why it's so important. What we talked about is eating in a 500 caloric surplus so that you can build. Otherwise, you can't be building if you don't have any supply in your tank.
Absolutely. And then, the training to failure is how you grow, right? And that's the thing. That's why I have to use a lot of the Smith machine and the stuff that Smith machine's been my partner for a long time, because of the hours I have to get in the gym and everything. So those of you who don't know out there, that Smith machine is the barbell that's sitting on an hydraulic system with notches. And what that does, it allows you, when you get to that failure set, you can't get off your chest or you're squatting, all you have to do is roll that bar back, and it catches the weight for you. So if you're in the gym and that thing looks kind of intimidating, use it. It's really good. It keeps your form correct, and just start off on that as well. And that can be your partner and a lot of that other stuff. Now, the dumbbells, use them correctly, proper form with everything, and then you can drop the dumbbells. But try to get that failure where you can no longer do anything, and get those reps in the right range for you, that you're going to grow, so you can grow. But the first 2 months, just get in there, just get in the gym, do a little bit of cardio, and do the weights.
To finish it in a good quote, Muhammad Ali said it. He's like, some guy asked him in an interview one time. He said, "Hey, how many sit-ups do you do a day?" He said, "I don't know. I don't start counting until it burns." Meaning, all that stuff up until it burns was what your body could do. Now growth comes until it burns. I love that. And I use it all the time with my clients.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Got any more, Dr. Molly?
Yeah. So I used to think I talked fast and I can't keep up. So I want to go back to something I think you covered, but I want to bring it out because I'm looking at who's here, and I don't think a lot of them are operators. I think we're more people who might be at a different level than that. So when we're looking at ideal protein intake, how do you gauge that? There's some rules out there. There's some cautions. I think you hit on it, but I just want to bring that out a little bit more.
Yeah, Gunny was talking about that 1-for-1. Go ahead, Gunny, I'm on that 1.5 per
Yeah, that's why I say the nutrition world is. I'll use a quick debate. For everything that comes out in favor, there's 5 other says that's not in favor, then 5 others say. So, for example, milk. Oh, is milk bad? And milk is the devil. Milk is great. It's what all. So we know now. Here's what I tell everyone: like the best people to go to are bodybuilders because they scalp their body in inhuman ways and they can manipulate it in exactly what they need. And it's been the rule of thumb for decades. And you'll hear the CrossFit realm and all these new people come out and say, "Oh, that 1-for-1 is too much," and blah, blah, blah. Man, you could say that, but we live in a world where we're under eating protein, eating crap quality of it, and overeating of everything else. Fill it with the 1-for-1 gram, and then that's where you should prioritize. And then have the other one, if it's fats, all natural animal fats, or natural fats, or carbs, good clean carbs. So the 1-for-1 is the gold standard. And when people say, "Oh, what CrossFitters or HIIT training, they try to do a 0.5, 0.6," cool. Then you'll stay small and stay shredded, and maybe that works for you. But like you cannot build muscle without the building essential block of protein.
That's it. That 1-for-1. And doctor, you understand what the 1-for-1 is? 1 gram per body pound. Okay, just let's make sure your listeners know.
1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and that's ideal body weight, not total body weight. If you're a disproportionate amount of body fat, right?
Sure, right.
So we might have to adjust it if your percent body fat's over 50%, say.
You bet.
Yeah. Okay. Doc Chambers messaged into us and said he ran in and didn't want to interrupt and had to go back to the meeting he's conducting. So he's really sorry he missed us. Happy to be here, and hopefully we'll catch him another night.
Well, that's fine. Again, officers, Gunny. I'm sorry. Officers, everything else is too important. No. For those of y'all who don't know, Colonel Chambers is a very great man. Me and him been together a long time since Iraq. We were in Guantanamo Bay together, running that island and that prison camp down there when Operation Lone Star together. And I'm his vice president for the Remnant Ministry of Texas, and he'll be back on the show here in the next time we have it. I guarantee that. Right now, he has an engagement up there at Fort Bragg with Special Forces Command. So we'll catch up.
So, as we close out, we're hitting the hour, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So first of all, thank you guys for coming. The 4th Monday of every month, we will do the JC Elite. It's a little different focus than the James Clinic, obviously. So keep that in mind. It's a little different focus, a little different audience. I want to give you each a chance to tell people where to follow you, where to find you. Mike, if you can elaborate a little bit more about the Remnant Ministry, because people don't know maybe what that is and what you do with that. So Dennis, do you want to go first?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us on. Thank you for having me on and able to promote Heroes for Humanity. You can find us on Instagram that we openly publish multiple times a day, all the latest and greatest missions. We're in 6 to 8 countries every year. We're in multiple different states. We do 3 specific pillars: precision personnel rescue, from rescuing 77 Americans out of Afghanistan, 65 WMBT and triple WMBT veterans from Ukraine during the initial war, to rescuing trafficked children. Our second one is humanitarian medical aid, just like how me and Doc Pete Chambers worked in North Carolina during Hurricane Helene together, to just, again, in the Texas floods, we are called to help one another in humanitarian aid and medical aid as well. And what we provide openly in Burma, I just got back like 75 days ago with Dave Eubanks and Free Burma Rangers, providing humanitarian and medical aid to those people who are being genocided. And then our third pillar is evangelism. We openly reach, teach, preach, and disciple. We are a ministry. We're not just a nonprofit. We're not just a ministry. We're also a movement to telling people to faith without actions is dead. Get up, just like me and Major Mike have been talking about the whole time. Get up, get off the couch, and put foot to the pavement and do something about it. You can't complain that the world is coming to falling apart, and you were gifted amazing gifts and talents of the Lord to be his hands and feet. Go out. I love what Major Mike said about do it within your first neighborhood. Fix the pothole, fix the lights, all other stuff. So those are our three pillars that we do. You can follow us on Instagram at heroes.for, the number 4.humanity. You can also go on our website, which is theheroesforhumanity.org, spelling FOR out. You can I just had an amazing interview with Chad Robichaux on the Resilience Show. You guys can watch that also to find out who we are, what we've been a part of, and where we're all at. And please, like, it's not just what I'm doing in life. It's not what God is just doing in my life. It's what he's doing in all our lives. We are just another segue. We're open partners with the remnant. We preach them all the time. I'm a massive backer of Doc Pete Chambers and the caliber of man of who he is. I openly endorse him running for office. I think he is someone I strive to be more like, and me and him have so much overlap in all the circles that we've been working around. And I'm just proud to call him a friend, an American, and a true hero that we all should strive to be like. And I pray my son grows up to be a fraction of the man he is. And I openly endorse everything about him.
Tell you what, I know he appreciates that, man. We love what you're doing over there as well, and we're very proud to be part of what you're doing with Heroes for Humanity, man. Just being part of that network, because let me tell you that the camaraderie alone with all the brothers and sisters that we have together, you talk about a force to be reckoned with. We really are together, stronger together. So, Doc Molly, just if you'll put make sure that he gets his that .org up, and then ours is the Remnant Ministry of Texas.org, and between those two websites right there, you can see what we're about. But really, it's just a collaboration. It really is. It's a collaboration. If this man calls me in the middle of the night and he needs something, there's no questions asked. I'll throw my go bag in the truck and I'm there as quick as I can. That's how we operate, and that's how people need to operate in their own neighborhoods. You need to be at that point, and all about getting the family squared away and just being Christ-based, and have that good faith and spirituality in your home. And yeah, that's what we're all about, getting back to that strong nuclear core.
Absolutely.
Thanks everybody for being here. If you know somebody who would like to listen to this, we will post it on our YouTube channel. We'll put all the links in the show notes for where to follow, where to find these two gentlemen. And yeah, just keep in mind, go follow them so you know what's going on. If you have future topics you'd like to hear about, let us know. Otherwise, everyone have a good night.
Good night.